Hello everyone and welcome to the Wolf's Side channel. Today with a very special topic, I mean, always special, the Relic System. So Henrik dropped a few infos, so as compact as possible.
A little bit about the Relic System. There's actually a relic hidden here in the scene. Can you see it, guys? Behind the rows, we got a winner, There's a little relic hidden right over here. Bam! This is a relic. Everything starts with rumbling in the sky, and everyone on Milan can look up and see a Metroid flying through, entering the atmosphere, and we work on that effect. Hopefully it's gonna look quite spectacular. It's a little bit like MMO1 Relics, but heavily upgraded and refined, I would say. So everyone will see the Metroid flying, right? And obviously that means you can start moving in that direction. It will crash down, and it looks like if you even get hit by this relic, you can get killed. Imagine a huge ass boulder, like a nuke flying down on ground, exploding. So that means everyone will see it fly across the continent and where it lands. When it landed, it will emit some kind of beam showing, you know, where it is in the world. So it's never too late to start marching towards that relic if you're interested. And obviously when you get there, you will see a huge Metroid rock on the ground, and it's in that state for a specific moment. And after a moment, it kind of cracks open and leave behind one type of relic. And it could leave this type of relic as you see here. And if you see this one on the ground, like so, that means it's a TC relic, which means you can pick it up as you would pick up a boulder, and you will actually hold it in your hand like a boulder, and everyone will see you hold it, and you can start running around with it. You can imagine the conflicts around that, right? You see someone is running with a relic in your hands. So you can't fight, you can't shoot magic, you can't mount when you hold the boulder. So yeah, you pick it up like a boulder and you can jog around in the world with it. So obviously what you want to do here is move this boulder, or relic I would say. You can't log out with it. The only thing you can do is drop it again. And it's back on the ground obviously for everyone can see it. And it's extremely cool because this is, you see what you're getting this time. It's not just magically what's going on. You actually see what's going on. So it's really cool. And you can only store this relic on a specific reliquary building, which I can't show you right now, but you will see that on PTR as well. When you put it in a relic building, you have locked it down. So there's like a shield locking it, securing it for you. And we talked a lot about, okay, so how do we create fun incentive, small investment, player conflicts, you know, types of war scales from small to large, obviously, without having to have a heavily investment for a whole siege. So what we've done is that to carry one of these relics or steal it from the enemies, all you have to do is you have to buy a specific siphon, and it costs, you know, several golds. We're gonna pinpoint the exact value. It's a balance thing, obviously. Imagine, you know, we have these kind of tug and pull battles around control towers today. People are bashing with cheap hammers, and the time for it to react, there's always a challenge right there, and it's not perfect how it is. So we're trying to again refine those steps to be more fun, engaging and balanced. So you buy this siphon device, you go to the reliquary building, the enemy's reliquary building, and you can put this siphon underneath this relic, and there it will start sucking the shield. It will drain the shield energy from the relic, which takes a certain amount of time, and everyone will be able to see it. I've seen the effects already, it looks really awesome. So that means the defenders obviously have that opportunity to try to defend it and stop the siphon to drain the energy shield, because when that's drained, that's when you can take the relic again. So that is the siege mechanic behind TC Relic. You know, we went through the case of, do we really want to force everyone to just build catapults and shoot on them to destroy the building and then pick it up? I think it would be more available for everyone without having to invest too much, because this is isolated only in Relic, right? It's not like you're destroying their city, you're just stealing the Relic from them. We're not talking about 3 hours AFK time, no. Obviously this is something we want to test on PTR to get feedback on, to get the numbers, you know, in a good position, and the cost for it. We don't want it to be an annoyance and everyone can do it left and right, but it also comes at a cost. You don't just buy this device, the Siphon, naked, like you do when you go naked and bash towers, because then you will lose the Siphon and the enemies can use it against other relics, right? So that is the Relic siege mechanics. We have a proper indication of when it's being sieged, and there's a proper way to prevent it, stop it, and a proper way to unlock the relic from the building to be able to pick it up and obviously bring it on home to your TC base instead. And when you place the relic and it locks with the shield, that means your guild is benefiting from its powers. And we have multiple types of relics that give you very different cool effects. Obviously, you know one of them that was one of the more popular in the first game, which is making a comeback here as well, which means it will buff your pets' mounts. They will grow levels faster. That was a very popular relic in the first game. We didn't have too many exciting ones. This time we will have some exciting ones that is worth going for and fight for. And we always consider that, okay, what about the zergs, right? The zergs is gonna take it and that's it. So what we're doing here is we are dropping multiple relics, multiple types. There will be something for everyone, and obviously one zerg is a zerg when you're one force in one spot, right? Which means if there's multiple relics, they have to split up, right? And this is just a TC type of relic we're talking about. We have another one that is a huge system that is completely new. We didn't have it in the first game. That is dropping the Metroid again on the ground, but this time when it cracks open, it's a different type of relic that is stuck in that rock and ground that attract different types of mobs in the world to go there to claim it. Which means if you as a player go there and you fight off this wave of enemies, there will be additional waves with obviously higher difficulties and higher loot tables. We have new unique loot implemented in this patch as well. That is very exciting loot, and we have a lot of fun designing that. So we hope that you will appreciate that as well and enjoy the exploration of that loot. So that's another type, right? So we're looking at 5 different relic types that will be released a few times a week. We are considering having some kind of schedule to show that, okay, maybe every Wednesday and Sunday there's a guaranteed drop around this time zone, and it varies obviously, right? And then there on top of that there are some variation of randomness factors where there may be different types of relics dropping, because we know that if we drop 2 relics at the same time, then again there is more room for random groups to get their fair share to go there, right? Rather than just one drop, obviously can attract more powerful one big zerg. The other function we're adding here that is also brand new is that if you pick up this relic and place it on your reliquary building, the larger the guild, the less of the power effect is distributed because it's so many members, right? The smaller group, the more powerful effect you benefit from this. So all of a sudden, you may look at some strong but small guilds getting a nice strength bonus from these relics, while in the hands of a big zerg gets way less of that kind of bonus. So that's a very cool concept that we're looking at to balance and promote. You know, you don't have to be the biggest guild always to get all the power, because obviously you already have strength in numbers, but this power gets distributed between the members, which means it's get diluted the more you are. So there's some interesting component there as well that we're looking at and want to play around with. Again, something we want to take a close look on PTR. In the first game, we didn't have decay timers on them. This time we want decay timers for the obvious reasons, as you can understand. But the question is, what kind of decay timer? We don't want people to commit to a siege and then, shit, it's gonna decay in 1, 2, 3 hours. Is it worth doing it? let's skip it. We will not do the conflict because we're getting close to a despawn function. You see what I mean? We want to find that good middle ground that there's always an incentive to go for them. And the investment isn't insane, so people can have fun on a daily basis. But we also want to make sure that it's worth holding them, right? So you don't just skip it and wait for a new drop. So obviously we want to try to pinpoint those numbers, and obviously we appreciate your feedback when it comes to that. Like, you know, how frequent we want them and how frequent they decay and go back to the pool of drop chances. So that means you can't just claim them all, lock them down, and just stand there around them and keep them secure. They will decay eventually and go out in the world again. So we have about 10 reliquary types already, which is quite a bit. And then we have multiple types of mining relics, PVE relics, and King of the Hill relics. So we have a bunch. As you can see, we can distribute them simultaneously a few days a week. Maybe one of them goes every second week or so. So we need to figure out a good ratio where the time of their decay as well. Relic and Metroid drops have truly random drop points or predefined drop points. So we actually had a discussion regarding the drop ratio. I initially first thought that we're gonna have predefined spots, like we pick 100 spots or so in the world. But obviously the downside is that you as a player will learn exactly where they are over time, right? So it's not a perfect scenario. So Sebastian found a new way that he think it's a secure new way to make them completely dynamic in the world, so they will never be the same. A safe drop chance, because there's a few cases obviously we don't want them to drop, right? But he feel quite confident that we have enough functions to make sure they land quite dynamically, but still within, not in those places we know that it shouldn't be dropped on, right? So we're looking at that they will be quite dynamic. Not 100%, but quite dynamic. So no, they won't crash into a house, because we can check where the houses is, we can check where node lines is, we can check where keeps is, all those checks, right? We can confirm so that doesn't happen, and that there's damage and you know, not on a steep mountain, stuff like that. We can do all those checks when we drop it. Because yeah, I first thought it would be safer to have them pre-designed, defined spots, but he said no, we have enough tools to secure them and drop them quite dynamically. So I said, why not? But we will try on PTR. They won't drop in cities. That's another check we can do in the server. Will there be an achievement for dying when a relic hits you? There probably should be one, right? That could be quite the achievement. But I don't think initially. Predefine, exactly. That's the downside, right? And that's what we talked about as well. When you learn they drop here and there, people can start building around them, right? And that becomes a problem. So obviously, dynamic is the better bet, but that could give us some rare cases where, okay, this was a bad spot, even though the server thought it was a good spot, right? New mobs for Relic that drops with PvE. So yes, we are creating new mobs, but not completely new species and breeds. We are utilizing as much as we can right now, because we are also working towards the next upcoming sprints, which is a lot on this, right? So we know a lot of people have been requesting, we want new types of creatures, mobs and loot. We are planning that along with improved AI, better, fun, engaging AI with new cool mobs. You know, we've been talking a bit about the invasion systems, so you can only speculate a little bit that. I don't want to go too deep ahead of time now. I mean, Sword of Tears was looted and banked for years, and then it got pulled out again for a famous battle, and then someone else had it and then got banked again. So obviously we want to make sure that those items are not banked. We're creating some cool new gear as well that we're gonna drop as relics that you can use in the battlefield, and you can't bank those, right? So you can drop them on the ground, but then someone else will pick them up. So you better make use of them while you have them. It can be for PvE or PvP. And then they will decay slowly over time and get back into the pool.
So yeah, the whole system sounds very awesome, and I'm really looking forward to test this on the PTR. So if you want to stay updated, it would be awesome if you could leave a like and subscribe the channel and maybe ring the bell. So thanks for watching, and special thanks to all these supporters, of course. Carmel, Paladin Life, Lucario, Ronus, Paternax, Cologne Bulldog, and all the others, of course. So always remember to make party hard, and never forget to make party hard, and see you all next time. Goodbye.